say, by show of hands, how many of you are involved with teaching, training, or mentoring? By show of hands. Okay? About a third of the group. Now, the challenge that we have on this project is, I mean, this is a great project when you really think about it. He talked about 360 or so building projects that are involved, but we're talking 2,000 miles of rail. We're talking about the infrastructure of highways to accommodate, just move around the project and move the materials. What about getting the materials in from the sea? You know, coming in from the ports to get it in. For example, we've had, one of the challenges for this project itself is, do we have the existing workforce? And at the moment, I question that. And the reason I question it is, at the point is that the baby boomers are retiring. We're at the end of our working cycle, basically. For example, myself, I'm 30 years in the industry. I retired from industry, and I have become a new teacher on tenure track at Fresno State within construction management. And my goal is to train people to get back into the industry by hearing about work experience from the industry, not just from academia. And I have taken on that challenge, and I encourage other people to participate in a challenge like that, because unless we have technology transfer from the people that are in the business, we're not going to have that transfer. A question arose earlier today regards from heavy industry. Our labor force is not active right now, and that's true. They're looking for other trades, they're looking for other businesses to survive because of the economy that's going on. And we've had discussions with building construction in Northern California as of Thursday of this week, and they have informed us that 40% of their revenue is gone right now. 40% of the revenue. And so where's their workforce? Where's the workforce coming from? And where's the workforce going? And what we're looking at right now is that in the engineering side of it, or science and engineering through universities, we have about 18 million people that are in the universities at this time. And that 485,000 of them are science and engineering background. Okay? We have to deal with diversity. We have to deal with the ethnicity. We have to deal with gender. And I have no problem with that. I see that what we need to do is to encourage people to get into science and engineering. And we're not doing a good job of that in the education group. And what we're finding out from industry, when I was involved with industry and the liaison with the universities, I have found out that counselors tend to direct people to the soft science areas rather than the hard science areas, just for the success of a person graduating. But we believe we need to challenge the people. We need to challenge them and get them interested in building something. We don't need to have them just play games and go out and design something that's dealing with a computer at that point, a software game. We need to actually physically put something together and let's drive by it and let's go look at it. Let's actually use it. Or actually, I would like to see more people actually using more highways, more rail, you know, the shipping areas, the waterways, to improve upon that. And so we need to encourage people. And how are we going to do that? Well, first off, we need to educate the counselors. Get them educated in the sense to direct people into this industry so that we can have the potential workforce. We need to work further down into the industry to get down into the elementary schools, for example. Now, there's a program called STEM, and that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And it's a huge program going on throughout the Department of Education through the federal government to encourage the growth for the technical background. And STEM introduces the students all the way down to 5th and 6th grade. if we can get them started there, we can get them interested. Right now, for example, in the Fresno region, we have an ACE program, ACE mentoring programs. And that's architectural, construction, and engineering. And we have, in one group, we have 150 students from 7 high schools that are involved with this activity. We have another high school that is it's a hybrid high school, which is in conjunction with a community college, that if a student enrolls at 9th grade, when they graduate from this school, they will have an associate arts degree and they will have a high school education at the same time. And that's within 5 years, and not the typical 6 years. They're doing dual role as they're going through it. But they enter into the program through an ACE program. This is architectural, construction, and engineering, which is fantastic. We have other schools that are magnet schools in the high school system. Through Fresno Unified, Clovis Unified, we have 2 magnet schools. So the potential of those students going into the field is somewhere around 400 to 500 students that were not introduced in this program before. And now we're starting to see this happen. The reason I made a comment about ACE is because when I came through the school system a few years ago, okay, through the 60s and the 70s, when I came through the school system, I remember that we had trade programs in there. We had metal shop, we had wood shop. Those are gone. The industrial arts are gone. If we can introduce those back into those programs, we can start seeing students looking at the trades. The community colleges right now in the United States, there's 1,000 schools for community colleges. There's 6 million students enrolled as of 2007 in the community colleges. Community colleges actually prepare people for 4-year universities and for trades for individuals who don't need to go to the universities, and they elect to move on and they go into the trades. It's very appropriate. I use this example as my father. As a student in the 40s and the 50s, there was polytechnic schools, there were trade schools. Those are gone. Because we're no longer an industrial nation. We're a service. We're going to the service side as a nation. We're shutting things down. Our trades are starting to shut down because they're looking at other ways of doing work and to maintain a livelihood. So, who do we go after? In the 30s, we had the CCC. And that took people that were out of work during the Depression and we had federal projects at that time. And with that, we had an opportunity for individuals to learn a trade, and when they learned that trade, they could follow projects. And that's another item to even address. But during the construction era at that time, there was major projects that needed to be built in the United States. And at the same time, we entered a Second World War. And we became an industrial nation of great magnitude. We were working with 2 fronts, and we came back, and everybody participated in solving that problem in regards to an industrial nation. And when the wars were over, the people came back into it, and we still became a large industrial nation at that time. It was a joint effort. We need to start thinking that way again in this sense. We see that the opportunity for the workforce for the future is the 18 to 24-year-olds. That's the generation Y at this time. And these individuals, if they don't have a trade, we can encourage them to go into a trade. If we get into a program like a CCC, we can take them out of their environment they're in now, which I'll say it is a comfort environment. Okay? Take them out of that environment, put them in an environment where they're going to learn a trade, and they're going to work on a project, and they can follow a project. And I mean follow a project because how many of you have heard the term NIMBY? And not in my backyard. Okay? We don't want the construction project to be in our backyard, but we'd love to use that project. Okay? Once it's built, let's use it. Especially highways. Okay? We don't want that highway built, and boy, I'm going to be on that highway and get to work real quick. But at the same time, NIMBY is another thing. When students come out of a school and they graduate, they tend to think they're going to live in the community have a job in that community and stay within that community at this time. Wrong. Okay? The issue is go where the work is. And the work could be out of the region. It could be within the state. It could be Northern California. It could be in Nevada. It could be in Utah. It could be in Texas. Or more importantly, it could be in Alaska or the British Columbia. And we could be working on this project. All right, these are opportunities for people that could be dealing with this. We're seeing global work because the work is not here at the moment. We have to go outside. The workforce is there. We have people, we're training people for other countries. Our students, as I see our graduates, are taking the opportunity of going, for example, to Guam to take in opportunities of work. I see them going over to China. I see them going over to the East Coast. There's no work in the Valley. We have a high unemployment rate here. California has a high unemployment rate at the moment. But we actually see people getting jobs. But the graduates 2 years ago were getting on the order of 95% work assignments as they graduated. Now it's down around 30%. Okay? It's tough. I mean, it's a really tough market out there. And they have to bring in a way to separate them from other people. And the trick is will you go to the work? You're being trained to do it. Are you willing to go do it? And where is it going to be at? And these people are starting to pick up that idea that I need to go where the job is. And now we see that an opportunity here that we have right now they predict between 04 and 18, we'll have 3.3 million high school graduates coming into the forces. We'll have 21, or almost 22 million in 2010 to 29 million 20 to 24-year-olds as a potential workforce. Okay? And that's the 29 million is up to 2050. The problem is right now is that the predictions are that in 2030 we'll be 25% light on the workforce available for the work to be done because of the retiring baby boomers that are out there. So, when do we start getting the message out to people to train, especially in our schools, our elementary schools, our junior highs, our high schools, to get them into the colleges, and not everybody has to be an engineer. We would like them to participate in a skilled workforce to build. And it could be either gender, and it doesn't matter which race. We're looking for people to be participatory in the workforce to make this project happen. And that's my message. Thank you.